A tight game throughout tonight at Target Center. LeBron James at 40 years old just scored 38 points in Game 3 tonight. But Jaden McDaniels had a career-high 30-point night, and Anthony Edwards also gave Minnesota 29. And the Timberwolves have taken a 2-1 lead in this first-round series. They win it over the Lakers 116-104. Welcome to Wolves Live and your post-game coverage with Rebecca Brunson. I'm Marnie Gellner. In the fourth quarter for the Timberwolves, this is where they finally could breathe a little bit tonight in this win over the Lakers.
Yeah, the Wolves were able to outscore the Lakers 30-20 in that quarter. Of the 20 points, LeBron had 11 of them, but it just was really impressive the way that I think Ant came in that fourth quarter. We talk about his clutch minutes and we talk about his ability to score that way. He was aggressive in that quarter. Jaden knocking down the big three in that quarter. So I appreciate the fact that the Wolves stayed the course the entire game.
We're just talking about what Ant did, and Ant accounted for all of those points. And so he scored 7 of them, but he assisted on the one Naz Reid three-point make, which was unbelievable. And then at the end, when Jaden kind of gave Minnesota a little distance with that corner three-point make himself. But the thing I say about Anthony Edwards, and people are asking me already if he's the greatest player in Timberwolves history, and the thing I say about Kevin Garnett is that when you walked into the gym with Garnett, you always feel like you had a chance to win every game you were involved in. And with Anthony Edwards, he has the basketball in his hands more than Ticket did. And so he's able to control the game, and he's able to make plays just like, you know, some of the people who they compare him to and Michael Jordan in terms of winning time. And the fact that Anthony Edwards, no moment is too big for him, Michael. And that's what we love about Ant, is that he loves these moments. He's looking for these moments. He wants the kill shot. He wants to make the play. And so his basketball IQ is so large now. And so we heard Leah B. Olsen during timeout situations say, hey, Ant, control this timeout. He's the one that was dictating action. So the growth of Anthony Edwards is evident, and he's taken leaps and bounds this season, and we're seeing evidence of that here in the fourth quarter against the Lakers.
One heck of a game here tonight at Target Center. Anthony Edwards had 29 points. Julius Randle had 22. Those two did their media session together, and we'll hear it next. Interesting way for Anthony Edwards to end his media availability tonight. Jaden McDaniels had 30 points. We'll hear from Jaden after this. Jaden, 30 points, ties his career high and sets a new playoff record. He was 13 of 22 from the floor, and Rebecca just gave the Wolves every ounce of life when they needed it tonight.
Yeah, we came into this game talking about Jaden and how he played in the last game. He had 27 points. So he bested himself in this one and got 30. But I love the way that he was aggressive to get to the paint, right? He didn't settle. He did take some threes. I think he was 1 of 4 from 3. But it was what he was able to do in the paint. He had 24 points in the paint. Yeah. 24. The Lakers' entire team had 26 points in the paint. So he almost bested them on his own. So the way that he hasn't settled, right? He understands what the game is calling for. He has to do it on the defensive end. The toughest matchup night in and night out. But he has really been in a great place offensively.
Try to see what your opponent is going to do and have a counter for that. And the Timberwolves had a counter tonight. They beat the Lakers 116-104 to take a 2-1 lead in the series. Game 4 is coming up on Sunday afternoon from Target Center. The Wolves win it tonight. They beat LA.
A lot of his points in the flow.
Yeah.
If that's not happening, do you want to prime the pump there, because it seems like it can be a repeatable offense?
Yeah, and we have, and we are. We've tried to, and there's some of those things that are intentional out there. So, but yeah, I think it's just best when when you play teams that are heavy switching and they like to hold and grab and play physical. You got to play with more, way more speed and more randomness. To be honest with you.
And I know you say this all the time, but if Mike isn't shooting, it diminishes what he is out there. And I think he started to pick it up a little bit in the second half.
Yeah.
Obviously was able to get a lot of secondary action because of that.
Yeah. I mean, Mike, Mike's got a tough job in this series. And putting him on.
And then Jaden on just both sides of the ball. Just how do you see him growing here?
Just a monster. I think this is a career high for him. Couldn't come at a better time. In the flow, everything. He was super aggressive. We found him. I thought he and Julius did an excellent job, like setting the tone today. Just being aggressive, playing with a lot of force, and then battling their matchup. Of course, they had the two tough matchups out there. And just fighting. LeBron had a heck of a game going, and Julius just kept battling him, and we got him to miss at the right time down the stretch. Fortunately for us.
What did you see specifically from Ant in those last 5 minutes? It seemed like he wasn't predetermining anything, and he was actually reading. Yeah,
it was. Getting to the hoop, I think he was going a little bit quicker, on his drives. He was staying with his direction, and then when he was there, he had the rim or the kick out. So I thought he kind of piece by piece it really well, and he kind of knew by that point where the floor was going to be spaced. So. And
what did you like most defensively in those last 5 minutes? Seemed like every game plan thing was on. Right on
we did. We kept flipping some coverages around. And guys did a pretty good job of just not giving in to some of the switching that they were trying to do on some matchups, and then on others they were pretty much trying to execute their coverage. But I just liked our, and then we rebounded well. We haven't always rebounded down the stretch. It's been part of our closing issue.
Chris, the other day at practice, the guys were talking about how you were kind of getting after him after game 2 and with the film session and stuff. How did you just find the way that they responded to?
I knew they would respond. It wasn't we've had way more, spirited film sessions than that. It was pretty matter of fact the other day. We just left a lot. We didn't make a lot of plays that were right there in front of us to be made. Offensively, that was huge. Guys recognized it. They played with a lot more physicality, and it bothered us. So we had to, he had to match that. So it was really about the concepts, the execution, and the spacing. But we played way too slow. We've got to get out and we got to play a little faster. So.
You said McDaniel's got a lot of his points in the flow.
Yeah.
If that's not happening, do you want to prime the pump there, because it seems like it can be a repeatable offense?
Yeah, and we have, and we are. We've tried to, and there's some of those things that are intentional out there. So, but yeah, I think it's just best when. When you play teams that are heavy switching and they like to hold and grab and play physical, you got to play with more, way more speed and more randomness, to be honest with you.
And I know you say this all the time, but if Mike isn't shooting, it diminishes what he is out there. And I think he started to pick it up a little bit in the second half. Yeah. And obviously was able to get a lot of secondary action because of that.
Yeah. I mean, Mike, Mike's got a tough job in this series. We're putting him on guys that he's giving away size and strength to, but he fights. Just make all the hustle plays. He's been very opportunistic offensively. I think it's not a traditional game plan for us offensively either. So. I think he had a bunch of good looks. I thought in game 2 we just couldn't connect. But a lot of series left, so I'm sure he'll find a way to figure it out. So
all season, the 5 you often close with may not be the 5 that you start with on a given night, and tonight was a big example of that. Just overall, how has the team and your kind of quote unquote 8 starters taken to that? Some nights they might be closing, some nights they might not be.
Yeah, it's everybody wants to finish games, everyone wants to play all the minutes out there. For the most part, these guys have been great. It's a conversation we have before the playoffs start every year. And our most experienced guy, Mike Conley, usually stands up and says, "Hey man, whatever it takes, that's what we're going to do. And if it means playing you or not playing you or starting you or not starting you, every series is different. Every game in every series can be different. Because there's so many adjustments being made, and we've asked our guys to be super open-minded of that, and they have been. So,
when did you decide to go with this configuration? At what point in the fourth quarter did you say, this is what I'm going to close with here?
Basically when I went back with Nas, we put Rudy in there. They drew a really cheap foul on him, and then Jokic got to the baseline, and I just wanted more aggressiveness, like up into the ball, and I've down at the other end of the floor, we had a pretty good rhythm going before that, so it was easy to return to that. So.
Doesn't seem like Luka has to turn down shots as often as he did tonight. He throwing his head fakes around, and Jaden was still there.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, he wasn't feeling well. I think he's a little bit under the weather. So he did make some tough ones, though. I mean, the two that he made were, we were draped all over him. So, but he's an unbelievable player, man. He's a handful. So sometimes you just feel helpless when you're guarding him.
Chris, it seemed like during the regular season, your team has hit offensive ruts. It seemed like Julius was there kind of throughout the game to not let that happen tonight. Yeah,
I thought he was outstanding all game. I mean, he did lots of things for us. He got a little baseline cut and laid it in. He got, out in transition when the game was they were widening the game in the first half. He got an and one. He just kind of played the game that came to him, but he stayed aggressive all the way throughout. I thought we ran offense through him at the elbow. He found Mike for a cheap one. He just did a lot of really, really great things tonight. And, man, it's such a pleasure to have him just with the physicality that he plays with. And just, we need that at this time of the year. So, and it doesn't seem to get him off of his game. He actually relishes it. So,
Chris, what was the environment like?
Yeah.
I mean, just not only the fans, but just the intensity of the game and the swings and how you guys managed to stay composed.
Well, first of all, it was another great atmosphere here. It continues to be among the best, if not the best. I mean, it's just the fans are so into it from the get-go. I thought it was an outstanding game. I thought it was pretty well played by both teams. It was, our guys did a good job of staying on the even keel, even when things weren't going well for us offensively. In game 2, we kind of went hero ball. Everybody did at that point in time. And we stuck with, some of the basics, like we wanted to get out in transition, run, those types of things. So, and we kept guarding. It was an unbelievable playoff atmosphere. So I'm proud of the guys for, riding the ups and downs with the right mindset.
Chris, when you do get a sense or learn that somebody's under the weather like Luka, do you adjust for that at all? Or do you just we're sticking with our game plan and making sure that he doesn't get it going? Well,
I mean, you talking about defensively? I mean, yeah, of course. I think you have to take all these things into account. I don't know how he felt. I just know he didn't start the second half because someone said he wasn't feeling well. So, I mean, all credit to him. He came back, he battled, he played hard. He's a gamer. You have to take all that into account. Thanks.